Hey, what's going on, y'all? We're back again with part two, because the other part was really, really long and it took me a minute to upload. But, yeah, we have the nine Americans who were killed, and we know that Donald Trump is blaming California and don't want to take responsibility for his actions. And, before I start the beautiful bean footage on part two, we still trying to get those 3,000 hours up, so I want all the people that watch my channel to watch more of my channel so we can get to that level. All right. The new link for the channel is /c/ Charlotte, Carolina, no spaces, because we had to cut it. All right, let's get into it.
The investigation. Drika Duncan is following this disturbing and developing story. Drika, good morning. So what more do we know?
You know, there's still so many questions, and this just happened last night. Authorities in Mexico say they've deployed members of their army, National Guard, and state police to investigate. The victims all left their community at the same time in 3 separate cars. Some were traveling back to the United States, some to the neighboring town of LeBaron for a wedding, when suddenly they were struck by a hail of gunfire so severe that one of the cars exploded.
This is for the record. Nita and 4 of my grandchildren are burnt and shot up.
In a video posted to Facebook, you can see the aftermath of the attack. The scorched SUV that apparently contained the burnt bodies of Maria Renita Miller and 4 of her 7 children. It's unclear if they were specifically targeted. The victims reportedly all belong to a decades-old Mormon community based in northern Mexico. The youngest victims were twin babies, just 7 months old. Some of the children miraculously survived the ambush but sustained gunshot wounds. They were found by family members. Relatives say 5 remain in the hospital.
I was so angry. It's so angry and yet so sad. It was horrifying.
Trish Close is the aunt of victim Donna Ray Langford.
All we could do was immediately start thinking positive and praying at the same time that we were all devastated and very emotional, and it's something that you can't explain, how there's evil people in this world that keep such a thing like that.
Some relatives say they believe the women and children were not the intended targets of the cartels and that this was a case of mistaken identity.
They are amazing, family-oriented people. They're loving, they're giving, they're always looking out for others. They're an incredible group of people.
One family member we spoke to says the children who survived are in the process of being brought to the United States for medical treatment. This morning,
living in Mexico, murdered in what's suspected to be a cartel massacre. The victims include several children as well. Those victims are in. More breaking news into your Rush Block now. 9 Americans living in Mexico murdered in what's suspected to be a cartel massacre. The victims include several children as well. Those victims are all reportedly part of the same family, and that family is part of a large fundamentalist Mormon community that's lived in northern Mexico for several decades now. Now, there's no clear motive at this point, but this video shows the victim's vehicle on a country road, burned out and full of bullet holes. They were reportedly driving to a wedding when they were ambushed by multiple shooters. That's leading some to question whether they were attacked by drug cartel gunmen in a case of mistaken identity. Believe the attack to be a case of mistaken identity. Members of the cartel opened fire on a convoy of 3 SUVs that were part of the Church of Northern state of Sonora. Police believe the attack to be a case of mistaken identity. Members of the cartel opened fire on a convoy of 3 SUVs that were part of the Church of Latter-day Saints. There are 13 people missing as of news time. While no identities have been released so far, a witness at the scene says some of the victims were... And this happened in the northern state of Sonora. Police believe the attack to be a case of mistaken identity. Members of the cartel opened fire on a convoy of 3 SUVs that were part of the Church of Northern state of Sonora. Police believe the attack to be a case of mistaken identity. Members of the cartel opened fire on a convoy of 3 SUVs that were part of the Church of Latter-day Saints. There are 13 people missing as of news time. While no identities have been released so far, a witness at the scene says some of the victims were... And this happened in the northern state of Sonora. Police believe the attack to be a case of mistaken identity. Members of the cartel opened fire on a convoy of 3 SUVs that were part of the Church.
We got to deal with Paris on the climate change, and we're going to take a year. This was the deal, and now we're going to withdraw from this deal. The same day he goes and blames California and says there is no climate change problem. It doesn't exist. So he is withdrawing from these things. For what reason? You people must understand. And it is in the bottom. It's at the bottom on the low. See, that's the difference between Fox News and the other news publications. That they have stuff at the bottom that y'all don't pay attention to. Let's move on.
PC. Brandon, Ainsley made a good point. This is not a tourist destination. This is right between the states of Chihuahua and Sonora, which is right where the drugs come from.
Yeah, that video was very difficult to see. I mean, obviously our hearts go out to the families, our prayers go out to the families. What we have to understand is, although this isn't a tourist destination, but this is where smuggling takes place. This is where drugs come into the United States. This is where criminal aliens come into the United States. And what we also have to look at, and this is just speculation right now because this is ongoing, U.S. law enforcement, we don't have a whole lot of information right now. But the speculation, what you have to look at is you have to consider is as we continue to do a better job on the border, we can expect to see more violence. It's rare that cartels lash out at American citizens unless we're cutting into their profits, which is what's happening right now with the policies that are taking place. And with the Mexican government becoming a true border security partner, right, you can expect to see more violence. Now, what I would call out to the politicians is these cartels are extremely dangerous. They don't care about life, and they're operating in the United States largely because we have politicized border security instead of standing up and saying we need to get this situation under control. We continue to use it on the left and the right as talking points instead of saying we've got to safeguard American citizens.
So,
here
Brandon,
in
the past, we have helped out Mexico, previous administrations, when they do have situations like this. Do you think that we should offer help, FBI, not just the investigation of this, but how the cartels have taken over that country to finally maybe gut it? Or, I mean, it's not our responsibility, but as neighbors, it might be in our interest.
Oh, it's absolutely in our interest. All we have to do is go back to and look at what we did in Colombia. We absolutely helped out the Colombian government.
We were
going in there. Well, yeah, we went in there and we did our job to safeguard the American public. It's not like we went in there solely for the health of Colombia. We went in there because it was in our best interest. It's also in our best interest to give the Mexican government as much support as possible to go after these cartels, to stop these drugs flowing into the United States, to quit these opioids that are going into suburban America that are killing our children, are coming largely
so we gotta be invited,
from Mexico.
though, we have to be invited,
yes,
right?
yes, we do. But we would get invited if we put the requisite pressure on the Mexican government. We've seen that.
We were speaking to Newt Gingrich, former Speaker of the House. He was reacting to this lead story. He had this observation. Listen to this, Brendan.
Much more than all the attention we pay to Syria or Iraq or Afghanistan, Mexico is a vital American interest, and our desire to make sure the Mexican government defeats the cartels should be enormous. And I think I hope this will be a wake-up call that we had better find a way to have a partnership with the Mexican government and help them with whatever intelligence, training, equipment they need to decisively defeat the cartels, who are now, frankly, a state within a state. We're now faced with, I think, almost like Lebanon, real danger of a government that's unable to control its own territory.
See, Brandon, you've got so many people on the left that are saying that the president is racist because he wants to build a wall. But this is exactly why he wants to build a wall, right? To keep that danger out. Things like this. We don't want cartels here.
No, absolutely. And if you go back to look at what Newt Gingrich said, we have to be a partner. This is a president that's been able to work. President Trump has been able to work with the Mexican government to come up with policies that have been very beneficial to both Mexico and to the United States. President Trump can work with Mexico. We can get ourselves invited to go after these cartels. And yes, walls absolutely work. I personally know that firsthand from my workings on the border when I patrol the border. He's doing the best that he can, and he is going